Welcome to episode 3 of How to CE5, where over the course of 21 episodes, we are covering 21 basic things for you to do so that you can be a great CE5 ambassador and make contact with ET. I'm Andre Cardoso, and today we'll be talking about Coherent Thought Sequencing, or CTS as it's more commonly referred to. So in the last episode, we learned about meditation, and Coherent Thought Sequencing is something that you kind of add on to your meditation that will allow you to make contact with ET and to really connect and bring them into the location. This is the most important aspect of the CE5 protocols from my perspective. There are lots of different ways that we can signal out to ETs, but using consciousness is the most powerful and the most surefire way of making it happen. So what is Coherent Thought Sequencing, or CTS? Coherent thought sequencing is kind of what it sounds like. You use your thoughts in a coherent way and you run through a sequence that you repeat, and this allows you to make contact. The sequence is basically a series of imageries. So yeah, coherent thought sequencing is a visualization and imagery practice that ends up developing into kind of more than that. But you kind of start off by having an image of where you see yourself in your location on Earth, and you expand outward visually, or kind of mentally, visually outwards from the Earth into the solar system, out past the solar system to encompass the whole galaxy, and then out into intergalactic space. And you open yourself up to connecting with any ETs out there through consciousness, and then zoom back into your location on Earth by going back to the Milky Way galaxy, back to our solar system, back to the Earth, back to our physical location on the Earth, and running through this sequence of zooming out from our location on the Earth, out into the infinity of space, connecting with ETs, having that intention of connecting with ET consciousness, and then guiding that consciousness back to where we are on Earth. Doing this and repeating this allows us to eventually make confirmed contact with ET, and they'll begin to manifest or connect with you in some way as you do this, and it's even more powerful if you're doing this in a group. It sounds really out there if you're not used to these kinds of visualization, but it's actually very clear, not that difficult to learn to practice and just repeat and repeat and repeat and learn. And it really works. It really does. So how can you learn and practice it? Well, you can kind of go off what I've just said. If you already are if you have a meditation practice that if you go out and just meditate on your own, you do that visualization of imagining where you are on Earth, zooming out to space, and then zooming back into where you're at, and having that intention of connecting with ET. You can go ahead and just do it based on that. There are other ways that you can really hone the skill and learn, and also practice it using some guides. So you can use one of the recordings available, such as the guided meditations that are on the ET Contact Tool app. So if you go into whatever app store you use and just search ET Contact Tool, that's where it is right now. If you're looking for CE5, the ET Contact Tool has all kinds of training stuff in it. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to be covering in this podcast series is right there on the app. You can download it and get all of it right there. There are also other guided meditations that are available as an audio download from SeriousDisclosure.com. And I think there's stuff on YouTube that are guided meditations from Dr. Greer. Some other people have useful guided meditations that are out there. And I'll also be recording some guided meditations myself to offer some variety for you to work with in practicing coherent thought sequencing in the context of these CE5 meditations. There are a couple of really great videos on YouTube that can illustrate how to visualize CTS, how to visualize that expanding outward and returning to your location. I'll include a link in the show notes for this podcast episode. A lot of learning this in the beginning is just repetition and using your imagination and kind of just repeating and holding that intention. gradually, as you hone your skills in meditation and remote perception, your imagining may start to actually blur and connect to actual perception. And you may have mental images come to you spontaneously, which are actually remote viewed. This is something I'll be talking about in a later episode where we'll really be talking a little bit more deeply about remote viewing and what that is. So, to conclude, CTS is really fundamental and something that you should be practicing if you're doing CE5. And it's really just the beginning of the whole CE5 experience. It can be the first step in establishing a relationship, and it is important to value the power of that and always be connected to the greater purpose of CE5, which is all about making peaceful bilateral contact with the aim of advancing the state of humanity, healing the earth, and moving toward becoming an interstellar civilization living in universal peace. So, thanks for listening to this episode all about coherent thought sequencing. I think this is one of the really, really fundamental things, probably one of the most important episodes I'll be doing in this series. And you can do this on your own, or you can do it in groups. The next couple of episodes, I'll be talking about both of those, how to do CE5 in groups, and also how to approach doing it on your own if you're not able to do it with anybody else near you. So thank you so much for listening. For a PDF that I've put together that has all these basic things in it, you can go to ce5podcast.com and find that. It's free. All I ask is you to put your email address in there, and I'll send it to you. If you want to unsubscribe or whatever, I don't send out very many emails, but it's easy to unsubscribe, once you get that. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.